The story begins with our main character waking up in complete darkness. He is extremely confused and doesn't understand where he is. There is only darkness all around. He can't see anything, and his mind goes completely blank. He begins to wonder why all this is happening to him. After some time, he notices a very faint light in front of him. This light gradually brightens. As the light increases, he realizes that this light is coming from inside an eggshell. A small part of the shell is broken. Through this broken part, he is able to see the outside world. He peeks outside and realizes that he is in a forest. There are tall trees all around, and there is silence all around. This increases his confusion even more. He also feels that he is unable to move his body at all. He is completely stuck. Suddenly, a status screen appears before him. Just like a game system. When he reads it, he's shocked because it clearly states that he's a dragon egg. This completely blows his mind. He realizes this can't be a joke. Then, his stat window fully opens. Then, a divine voice is heard. The voice, Kamali, explains that this window displays all his abilities and their numerical values to make everything easier to understand. Yet, he remains completely confused. He tries to talk to the divine voice. Angrily, he asks what's happening to him, but the divine voice calmly replies that he's still at level 1, so a full explanation can't be given. Hearing this, his frustration increases even more. He shakes his body slightly in anger, but this causes him to fall from the tree he was on. As soon as he hits the ground, he begins to roll. He continues rolling uncontrollably downhill. He can't stop himself for a long time. Finally, he stops near a river and tries to relax for a while. He sees his reflection in the river water. When he looks closely, he's shocked to see that he's actually a dragon egg. Seeing this, he finally believes it's all real. Seeing his condition, the divine voice softens a bit. She finally gives him a proper explanation. She tells him that it's indeed a dragon egg. In this world, a dragon egg is considered an F-rank monster. He's told that if its shell breaks completely, he'll die instantly, meaning even the small hole he created was a huge risk. The divine voice further explains that Dragon X's are at the bottom of the food chain. However, it also states that if he survives, he could become a powerful dragon in the future. The problem is that Dragon X's are a favorite food for many monsters. And because dragon eggs don't have legs, they can't walk. They can only move by rolling. Even after knowing all this, he can't fully accept the situation. He decides that staying in one place is dangerous. So he starts rolling at full speed. But this decision also proves dangerous for him. While rolling, he falls down at a small cliff. The system immediately announces that his fall resistance has increased from level 1 to level 2. However, the fall has reduced his HP. This reminds him not to be too careless. Feeling tired and injured, he decides to sleep. When he wakes up, his HP is fully restored. This confirms that sleeping fully refills his health. This brings him some relief. Afterward, he begins rolling again. As he moves, he wonders what will happen when he hatches. Will he become a massive dragon in the future? Will he have to fight battles every day? Lost in these thoughts, he suddenly stops. He sees a giant insect in front of him. Sensing danger, he immediately hides behind a tree and uses his appreciation skill without delay. The result shows that the monster is an egg eater. The name itself suggests that it is a dragon egg-eating monster. As soon as the insect notices him, it attacks him without stopping. It rolls at full speed and starts running, but it knows it won't survive for long. While running, it reaches the edge of a cliff. Just as the insect jumps to swallow him, he dodges at the last moment. With all his might, he hits the monster and pushes it off the cliff. The monster falls to its death. This is the first victory of his life. The system announces that he has gained 12 experience points and reached level 5. Upon leveling up, all his stats are maxed out. He also gets the option to evolve. He can choose between a baby dragon or a little dragon. He doesn't know the difference, so the system explains to him. A little dragon is a dwarf-type dragon, smaller than other dragons. However, when fully grown, it is larger than a bear, and its fire breath is considered very powerful. Regarding the baby dragon, the system explains that it is not well suited for fighting. Its claws and fangs are small. Therefore, it is considered weak in direct battle. However, it holds immense potential. It can evolve into many different dragon species in the future. Naturally, baby dragons are considered a highly prized delicacy among both monsters and adventurers. This means that wherever a baby dragon is seen, it is immediately hunted. Hearing this, our boy begins to understand the seriousness of the situation. Initially, he chooses the little dragon because it seems the safer option in terms of survival. But immediately after making his choice, the divine voice comes to him. She takes him in her arms and tells him not to limit himself. The divine voice explains that she has very high expectations for him and wants him to always achieve the highest standards. Hearing this, he becomes even more confused. He begins to wonder if the divine voice said this because he had chosen the little dragon as the safest option and had ignored the baby dragon out of fear of taking risks. He remembers the system's advice. It had told him that the baby dragon had immeasurable potential and could evolve into many forms in the future. This raises a doubt in his mind that perhaps the little dragon dragon, after evolving to a certain limit, could not progress further, or perhaps it could not evolve at all after a certain point. Thinking about this, he asks himself whether he will regret it later. Will he think in the future that he held himself back because of fear? He realizes that he doesn't want to regret it. Ultimately, he decides to choose the baby dragon. Even though this path is risky, he doesn't want to look back and think he made the wrong choice. The system accepts his decision, and his wish is immediately granted. The next moment, his body begins to change. He slowly evolves into a yellow baby dragon, exactly like the one he chose. With the evolution, he gains many new skills. All his old stats are also significantly boosted, but one problem remains. Even after evolving, his HP and MP don't refill. This means he's still exhausted and needs proper rest before proceeding. As soon as he realizes this, his stomach makes a loud noise. This is a clear signal that he needs to eat something quickly. He looks at the worm lying nearby that he defeated earlier. Surprisingly, he now finds that worm delicious. He understands that protein is essential to becoming strong, and with this thought, his dragon instincts are fully activated. Without much thought, he devoured the worm. After eating, he lay down and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning when he woke up, he felt energized and refreshed. A proper rest had dispelled all his fatigue. He went to the river and looked at his reflection. There, he fully accepted that he had reincarnated into this world. But something struck him as strange. He couldn't recall any memories of his past life. He didn't know who he was before, nor what kind of life he had lived. He couldn't even remember whether he was a boy or a girl. Lost in these thoughts, he suddenly turned back and saw several dark worms standing behind him. This time he didn't run away, but charged straight at them. Using his new skills, he wiped out the first wave in no time. As he defeats more worms, he unlocks new skills, making battles easier and faster. After eliminating all the worms, he becomes hungry again, but he doesn't want to eat dark worms because they tasted so bad last time. He sees mushrooms nearby and decides to try them, but this decision proves to be a very wrong one. He quickly realizes that mushrooms are poisonous. The consequences that follow teach him a strong lesson. He decides never to eat random mushrooms again. He then goes deeper into the forest because he doesn't want to survive solely on dark worms. After exploring for a while, he sees a gray wolf. The wolf is larger than him, but he is still not afraid. He defeats the wolf using baby breath and dragon punch. The fire slightly burns the wolf's skin. When he smells it, it smells like barbecue. Out of curiosity, he grills the wolf further. When he takes a final bite, he finds it tastes amazing. He then meets another gray wolf and defeats it almost instantly. This raises his level to level 20, while the maximum level is 25. He now realizes that he only needs 5 more levels to evolve again. After killing the wolf, he grills it as before and gradually realizes that living as a dragon is becoming normal. Hunting, fighting, and eating are becoming a part of his daily life. But despite his strength, he begins to feel lonely. He has no one to talk to except the divine voice. This situation becomes boring, and he wishes he had a best friend. His wish is quickly fulfilled as he hears voices from somewhere far away. The problem is, he can't understand the language. He can't understand what they're saying. Still, hearing them brings him great relief, as he clearly understands that they're human. Realizing this, he quickly hides behind a nearby tree and carefully peeks out. He sees a small group of adventurers slowly approaching him. At first, he considers going out and trying to talk to them, but then he remembers that he's a dragon. This makes him doubt whether they'll attack him upon seeing him. He then convinces himself that he's still young. He looks harmless, and even a little cute. He even thinks they might keep him as a pet. He comes out from behind the tree and stands in front of them. He tries his best to appear cute and non-threatening, but his plan fails completely. The adventurers don't understand at all. In their eyes, he's just prey and valuable meat. Without a second thought, the group leader slashes him across the chest with his sword. The next moment, the man uses magic, rendering his entire body numb, making proper movement impossible. He tries to run, but his body refuses to listen. The numbing effect causes him to collapse to the ground. He lies helpless, watching the adventurers slowly approach him. Their faces clearly indicate they're about to kill him. At that very moment, he realizes the huge mistake he made, thinking a dragon could be a friend to humans. After surviving so much, after so much effort to evolve, everything seems to end here, and with a meaningless death. Just then, the leader raises his weapon and is about to deliver the finishing blow. Just then, a female adventurer interrupts. She stops the leader and says, "There's no need to kill such a small, cute, and innocent dragon." He's confused as to how it's still alive. A few seconds later, he feels a warm sensation in his body. When he looks up, he realizes the female adventurer is using healing magic. He immediately uses his appraise skill and discovers her name is Maria. Her MP is very low, yet she chooses to heal him. Maria continues talking to him, and after a while, the system announces that he has gained the Greek language skill. Now, if he levels up, he will be able to understand human language even better. But this peaceful moment doesn't last long. Suddenly, loud screams are heard from somewhere ahead. Maria immediately recognizes the voices as belonging to her comrades and, without thinking, runs to help them. Before she can leave, he grabs her hand and signals her to stop. He tries to warn her that there's a lot of danger ahead and she won't be able to handle it alone. But Maria frees her hand and runs away, leaving him behind. He realizes he can't stand there and do anything. The girl who saved his life is in danger. Gathering courage, he forces himself to move and runs after Maria. When he reaches there, his fear intensifies as he sees the monster. It's a rock dragon, a C-rank monster. The situation is made worse by the fact that it has 197 HP, meaning it requires a lot of damage to defeat it. Maria is already injured, and when he calls her name, the rock dragon's attention shifts to her. Seeing such a large monster staring at him, he freezes in fear. His body is unable to move, and only one question remains in his mind. Is this really his end? The rock dragon has 197 hit points, while the protagonist has only 38 hit points left out of a total of 72. But he refuses to let fear overwhelm him. He quickly looks around and sees Maria lying on the ground near the rock dragon. His heart begins to race. Then the dragon spots him and looks directly at him. The protagonist is completely terrified. He somehow survives an attack and hides behind the bushes. He knows that if the dragon comes at him now, he won't be able to escape. He sees that Maria is still alive, but the dragon has already seen him and is advancing towards him. At that moment, the divine voice speaks, telling him to run, because if he stops, he will die. The protagonist already knows this, because he doesn't yet have the skills or powers to defeat the dragon. He believes the divine voice is right, but then he remembers how Maria fearlessly saved his life. He decides not to back down. So he immediately runs towards the rock dragon before the dragon can reach Maria. He uses his rolling skill and dodges one of the dragon's attacks. At that very moment, the divine voice tells him that he has earned the title of King of Evils. The protagonist now focuses on the battle and sees that the old man who was with Maria is dead. The other man is still alive, but unconscious. He's bleeding and has only 5 hit points. The rock dragon attacks again. The protagonist realizes he needs to act. He uses his rolling skill to distract the dragon. His plan is to lure the dragon away and return later to help. But this isn't easy. The rock dragon uses a long-range skill trigger, which makes it impossible to dodge. This attack severely injures the protagonist. He has no more respites left. Still, he thinks. Just then, the rock dragon attacks with bite, and at the same time, the protagonist lands a fire punch, which causes some damage to the dragon. But the rock dragon quickly regains its lost HP. The protagonist realizes he can't wait any longer. So, he immediately picks up Maria and starts running away. He knows the other man is also there, but he's in no condition to save both of them. So he decides to at least save the girl. The rock dragon tries to attack again, but its heavy body forces it to slow down, giving the protagonist a chance to escape. After reaching a distance, he puts Maria down and examines her condition. He realizes that her blood loss is causing her to lose blood. He considers using healing magic, but first decides it's best to take her to a safe place. The protagonist remembers the direction Maria was coming from when they first met. His sense of smell helps him recognize human scent. Without stopping, he picks Maria up and runs in the direction of the scent. Then he smells another scent and realizes that gray wolves are coming. He runs with all his might because he doesn't know how many there are, but within a short time, he's surrounded from all sides. Now there's no way out. He puts Maria down and begins to fight the wolf alone. Maria remains unconscious, but hearing the sound of battle, she momentarily opens her eyes and sees him fighting the wolf. Then she falls unconscious again. After defeating all the gray wolves, the protagonist carries her on his back. He saves her, but now he is completely exhausted. His body can barely move. While walking, he finds a human village. He calls for help, but the people there mistake his voice for a monster. People come towards him with weapons. He asks for help, but he is speared in the leg. They think he is just a monster. The protagonist tries to explain that he only wants to save the girl, but seeing the fear in their eyes, he realizes that nothing will change. He gently lays Maria down on the ground, making sure she is safe. Then he leaves. The villagers say the monster may return, so they remain vigilant. They treat Maria, and from afar, the protagonist is delighted to learn that she will survive. He himself is badly injured, but he realizes that a dragon remains a dragon no matter where it is. As he leaves, the divine voice tells him that he has earned the title of ATBT Hero Level 1. 2 days later, Maria regains consciousness at the home of a girl, Mariel. Mariel tells him that she has healed his wounds. She says that it has been a long time since she used such strong white magic. She explains that Maria had been unconscious for 2 days and needs rest. Maria lies back down after hearing this. After a while, Mariel recounts how many times she had told Dak not to, but he never listened. Mian asks her, "Where are Da and Granz?" Muriel remains silent for a moment, then reveals that Granz is dead. His body was found in the forest, crushed by a rock. Muriel says that no one should fight a rock dragon. She also explains that Dak's body hasn't been found, and that the dragon may have eaten him. Hearing this, Mian begins to cry and blame herself. She says that if she had stopped Da, all this wouldn't have happened. Muriel consoles her, saying that at least his survival is a big deal. Mian says that Da wasn't a bad person. He always protected the village. The children liked him because he was strong. But one day, a villager challenged him, saying he couldn't defeat the rock dragon. Da was upset by this, and Mian had witnessed it with his own eyes. Another villager taunted Dak, saying that he was the one who ran home in fear. Da tried to remind them that it was many years ago, and he was weak at the time. He said that if he tried, he could easily defeat a rock dragon. The villagers discouraged him from doing anything like that, reminding him that this time there would be no one to rescue him. But despite all this, Da's resolve was firm. He kept saying that he would soon defeat a rock dragon. After some time, he decided to team up with the Granz and went to Mian, saying that Marielle had given them permission to hunt the rock dragon. This was a complete lie, but Dan also said that Marielle was busy at the moment, so he had asked Mian to help them. Mian became suspicious and asked him where Marielle was at the moment. She wanted to hear it from him herself, but Dan simply said that Marielle had gone to another village nearby for some work. Mian remained silent for a while, but then she reminded them that the rock dragon was the most dangerous monster outside the village, and Marielle had categorically forbidden fighting it under any circumstances. She had also said that even if Dash wanted to go hunting, Mian should not help. Dan misunderstood this and asked Mian if she was calling him a liar. Mian was in a quandary. Dan tried to convince her, saying that Granz was also present when Marielle gave permission. This was also a lie, but Dan threatened Mian that if she didn't go with them, they would still go after the rock dragon, and that both Da and Granz could lose their lives. Hearing this, Mian was left with no other option and was forced to agree. Thus, she fell directly into Dai's trap. After hearing all this, Marielle says that Dai's own pride cost him his life, and this clearly shows how little humans can make wrong decisions. She tells Mian that she should be careful and not make the same mistake again, as it could cost her her life. Mian nods in agreement and wipes away her tears. Just then, Marielle smiles and says that it's truly remarkable that she survived such serious injuries and made it here. Hearing this, Mian sits up straight and asks if someone picked her up from the forest and brought her here. Marielle is shocked and reminds her that she was found outside the village, attacked by a monster. Mian tries to explain that she was attacked by a rock dragon in the forest and fell unconscious, so it's impossible for her to have come here on her own. Marielle says that this is strange because no one in the village would risk going into the forest alone at night. She was found unconscious outside the village, and people said that she was attacked by a monster. Gregor drove away the monster. Mian becomes even more confused because she can't remember anything. Marielle explains that sometimes after experiencing a major shock, people lose their memory. Perhaps that's what happened to her. Mian ponders this, but suddenly remembers seeing a baby dragon fighting a pack of gray wolves. She immediately asks what the monster she had looked like, but Marielle says she doesn't know because it had already fled before she could reach it. Mian doesn't say anything further, but questions begin to arise in her mind. Could it be that dragon? A few days later, MC awakens in the middle of the forest and finds that all his injuries have healed. He knows that rest helps his body heal, but he still can't believe how he recovered so quickly. He clearly understands that dragons are very strong. If he were human, he probably wouldn't have been able to heal so quickly. He just hopes that Mian is safe now. He remembers how weak he felt when he saved her. Even though he had evolved and thought he had become stronger, the truth was that he was still weak. If he had been a little stronger, perhaps everything would have been different, and he could have defeated that rock dragon. That's why he decides that he must become stronger now, and he doesn't waste any time. He quickly decides to find a group of dark worms. To fight them, he ties a dark worm to a tree, gathering all the surrounding dark worms there. When all the worms approach the trap, MC suddenly attacks them, crushing them in seconds. He proudly declares that he set the trap using his Call Ally skill, and it worked perfectly. The divine voice informs him that he has earned the title of Wrong Dare. MC finds this a bit harsh. He makes it clear that he will not use this method again, but for now, he wants to use these dark worms to evolve quickly. He continues to fight the dark worms relentlessly, eliminating them one by one within a few minutes. The divine voice informs him that he has earned 24 XP. A little later, he is told that he has earned another 48 XP. MC doesn't stop and continues to destroy the dark worm without mercy. He uses his dragon punch on them, eliminating most of them. MC destroys all the dark worm in a very short time. When the last worm falls, he tells them with a slight smile that everyone rushing together to help their friend was truly heroic, and that he will always remember their noble sacrifice. He then completely reduces the last dark worm to ashes with his fire breath, instantly reaching level 25. MC shouts with joy, and Divine Voice informs him that he has met all the conditions necessary for evolution, and his level has reached its maximum. Now that everything is complete for evolution, Divine Voice asks him if he wants to see the evolution tree. MC excitedly agrees without delay. The divine voice shows him the different evolution options. This time, he has a total of 5 choices. But the last one is a bit scary, named Young Plague Dragon. The other options include Kid Marble Dragon, Kid Dragon, Mini Angel Dragon, and Mini Dragon. MC is confused for a while, wondering what the difference is between Mini, Kid, Baby, and Little. The Young Plague Dragon option also makes him a little curious, and this is why he has trouble making a decision. But then the divine voice itself speaks and clears up his confusion. The divine voice explains that for some monster types, little doesn't refer to an evolutionary stage, but rather to the size limit of the species. MC is a little surprised because the divine voice doesn't usually answer in such detail, but now he begins to listen carefully. The divine voice explains that little-type monsters have faster stat growth, but fewer evolution paths and abilities. Baby-type monsters, on the other hand, have more options. Upon hearing this, MC immediately understands that while little-type monsters grow faster and survive more easily, they aren't the best choice in the long run. This is why becoming a baby-type was the right decision. The divine voice further explains that kid-type is a higher version of baby-type, essentially the next stage. She also explains that many monster types have fewer evolution options, but their evolution tree is stable. This seems quite obvious to the MC. He then wants to ask about the young dragon type, but the divine voice doesn't reveal anything about it. The MC understands that he won't get any more information about this option yet, so he assumes it's probably around the kid type. Nevertheless, he decides it's important to thoroughly understand each option before making a choice. The divine voice tells him that a mini dragon is the same size as a little dragon, but its growth is much slower, and its evolution options are limited. In return, its future evolutions have great potential. The MC immediately says that he doesn't like slow growth at all, and the limited options don't seem right to him. He then asks the divine voice to tell him about the next option. The divine voice explains that a mini angel dragon is a dragon that has acquired a protective spirit and vows to live for others. This dragon can use various types of white magic, but its fighting abilities are not very good. MC looks at the protective spirit title and suggests that perhaps the evolution path could also be changed according to the titles. He doesn't fully like this option because it has less battle power, but white magic is useful for healing. It's the same magic that Miria used to heal his wounds when they first met. While he's considering this option, Divine Voice begins explaining the next choices. Divine Voice explains that Kid Dragon is the natural form that comes after Baby Dragon. It's still not fully mature, but its physical strength is significantly increased. MC understands that this is a stronger version of Baby Dragon, and, in a way, it could be his true and simple path. Divine Voice then tells him about Kid Marble Dragon. She explains that it's a mutated dragon with distinct dots on its skin and stronger magic than a normal dragon. MC finds this option quite interesting, as increased magic power can be very useful in the long run. The word mutation also strikes him as something special, like a limited time special. But before he can decide, the Divine Voice begins to explain the Young Plague Dragon, which MC didn't even want to consider. The Divine Voice explains that the Young Plague Dragon is the first stage of an evil dragon that spreads disaster. However, it hasn't completely gone astray yet and can return to the right path. MC immediately rejects this idea. He doesn't want to hear the rest of the explanation. He doesn't know what it means to spread disaster, but he doesn't want to know that either. He thinks that if he chooses this option, he will become even more lonely. The Divine Voice continues to speak, explaining that young plague dragons have high intelligence and can use the human transformation skill, allowing them to enter human villages. However, this is mostly used for evil purposes. MC still thinks this option is very bad, but as soon as he hears about human transformation, he stops. If he can transform into a human, he will be able to go to the village without being attacked, and he will not be alone. But this poses a big problem. He will still be an evil dragon with a plague. And this is where episode 2 ends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss the rest of the story.